Welcome to the forefront of transformation. MSP+OS launched with a promise. Today, we deliver on that promise. Every day, every project. We're not just consultants. We are creators, innovators, leaders. Our journey has just begun, but our impact resonates. Together, we've turned challenges into opportunities and visions into realities. Now, we're ready to take the next leap, to amplify our reach, to elevate our game. This is MSP+OS. Visionaries, unite. Innovators, ignite. Leaders, let's conquer the new era of IT solutions. The future isn't waiting, neither are we. The live stream starts now.
Hey guys, good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to another episode of MSP+OS Unplugged. I'm Adam Belansky, here to guide you through all the various different things that MSP+OS does and the people behind the scenes. Today's session is particularly exciting because I get to dive deeper into the world of strategy and coaching with Jamison West, right? Jamison is also our Chief Strategy Officer and a mastermind around strategic coaching, right? Beyond Jamison's strategic acumen, right? He brings a unique blend of entertainment and outcomes. If you don't know, he loves karaoke and he knows the words to songs pretty quickly. So I'm going to reflect on that, a little bit of fun and some thoughtful approach that he has around and what he does here around MSP+OS, right? I want to, really stay with us and as we explore Jamison's journey, the insights we gather along the way and understand help shape Jamison's his strategy, his role in our organization, and really get to know him as an individual. So I'm going to go and head and bring him on. Jamison, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Man, that video just amps me up and gets me going.
Good.
So, yeah, Jamison, your path here at MSP+OS and your role, right? Can you talk a little bit about that and what you do here?
I had two roles, but my role within the organization is Chief Strategy Officer, and really helping guide the whole executive leadership team through both kind of facilitation and then lending some of my background, my depth of 30 years in the IT services industry. Lending some of that acumen to the group, and also just facilitating really creative conversations around where are we headed and why are we going there. It's my passion to do that work, and I really I've serviced clients, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I view MSP+OS as a core client. My role as Chief Strategy Officer, I kind of get to sit in that step outside the organization a little bit, really sit at the 30 or 50,000 foot view, and guide the organization strategically as we continue to solve problems.
Awesome. Yeah. So I kind of want to know like a little bit of your history. You've been around, you chuckled even a little bit, 30 years. Yeah, I'm just thinking about my own. I'm like, yeah, 20 years into it. I'm like, man, you got a whole 10 more years into it. But I'm kind of curious of like, what kind of sparked your imagination and ignited your passion for doing strategy and maybe working within the tech industry?
Yeah, so two very different questions. It started. I'll start with the tech side because it started way earlier. I didn't know. I couldn't spell strategy when I started getting interested in technology. So I'm a self-proclaimed geek. I am not but not a nerd. I think there's a difference between the two. I love them both, but I'm not actually much of an engineer. But I love technology. It's why I drive a Tesla. I don't care about cars. I just like that I have a computer on wheels. So it started like some video games and stuff back when I was in high school. I'll mention the two video games I had. Is my dad in my basement had a sit down Pong, the 4-person black and white Pong game, and I had an Atari 800 XL that I got when I was in high school. Most people probably on the younger side have no idea what that is. And then we had at our high school, we got TRS Radio Shack TRS 80, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually going to do some real things. Like you could actually work on this thing. So I joined the computer club, and we won some awards, and so I realized I really kind of liked being part of this, and it kind of sparked my interest in what technology was going to do for civilization, right? I mean, I've always been a bit of a futurist, and I think it all started then. I was definitely singled out in high school and college as like that guy who loves all the tech stuff, and nobody else knew what it was. But again, I
Yeah.
wasn't a developer. I just liked thinking about how it was going to impact society. Um, then I'll switch a little bit into kind of the business or strategy side. I went to University of Washington, and while setting up the computer lab at my fraternity, because I was the only one who knew how to do that kind of work, I was a business major. So unlike what kind of got me into coaching is as I built my MSP and drove it, did some acquisitions, sold it, which was great. I realized that my perspective, I was in HTG, the former name of Evolved Peer Groups, and I realized my perspective on the business was different than those of most of my peers, because most of them were engineers. I was not. I was more sales and finance. I was a business major. I was never an engineer or a tech guy. I just loved the impact it could make. So I could think. I kind of came at everything from a different angle and a different perspective than the more typical MSP owner, IT services owner. And I think that that's really helped me, just bring a different perspective to my clients that allows them to think about how do we grow, how do we sell, how do we elevate what we can do financially, and then a big part of that is how we drive it all through our people and strong culture, which has always been important. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And so throughout your career, you've had all these different milestones and so forth. What has been kind of the most pivotal milestone that contributes to your success?
Oh wow. The most pivotal milestone that contributed to my success. I think that for me, everything shifted, and the it's kind of a milestone. I call it more of an event than a milestone, and it was in 2007 or something like I think it was back a ways back when I went to an SMB Nation Harry Brailsford runs, and I met.
Yes.
So I met. I'd already known Harry, but I met Brad Benner, Arlen Sorensen, and Arnie, all within the same hour, for totally different reasons, but they all happened to be at that event, and then they all kind of became. I kind of had this realization that my perspective was different, and that there was a community out there that I never realized there was, and it completely altered my trajectory from being like on an island, a solo guy running a little IT company, to going, wait a minute, there's a whole lot I can do here if I can just leverage my unique skills and talents and bring
Yep.
them to the community. So that altered the trajectory tremendously. And then then it started to grow, right?
Yeah.
Acquiring and selling businesses and doing that kind of work.
Yeah. And so part of that journey is, speaking last summer and so forth, there's just this opportunity around us becoming together. I'm just curious of kind of part of MSP Plus OS's mission, something drew you to become kind of integral part of this team. And I'm just curious, what was that kind of draw for you?
Well, so it's a couple things. A key reason that I felt this was a massive opportunity is everybody felt focused on and bullish about what the future could look like for IT companies that, got their ducks in a row and thought about what's next. And in my coaching, I have a mix of clients, some who are kind of stuck in the mud a little about how we've always done things, which is one of my least favorite phrases, and where things are going and how we're going to capitalize it. Like I'm a self-proclaimed futurist. I like the idea of knowing what's coming, being prepared for it, executing on it. Even when people get a little down about the state of the economy or the future of the industry or all those things, year over year after year, we see just pure growth, and it's not stopping, it's not slowing down. We also are seeing organizations that aren't getting with the times, either having to sell or go out of business. And there's just more M&A and more of that stuff in the works. And I think people, this has always been a conversation, but it just continues to accelerate. So people have to get with the times and get into, they need to become a next gen modern MSP to really be prolific in the future. And I saw a real alignment towards all of us that were coming together on that vision of saying we need to better ourselves and then better everybody else around us in order to make this work. So that was one thing. The second thing I would say is I really felt like there was a sense of trust and camaraderie around culturally. We all kind of met through an advisory board, and there was just, after spending, we had the benefit of having spent some time together, knowing each other, understanding how each other thought, watching each other's businesses move. And it allowed us to just say, hey, I think this is a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario, or maybe it's a 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. I don't know. There's 5 of us, so it's a little more complicated. But it was really a multiplier effect, which excited me.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and so if you're just joining us, don't hesitate to drop any questions or answer a Q&A with Jamison West here, Chief Strategy Officer here at MSP+OS, as well as Strategic Coach. And so you actually happened to bring up just previously Harry Brailsford, and I actually want to do a shout out for his event, MSP Rescue Roadshow. I'm actually going to be down there, and Keith Nelson commented that I'm going to be down there in LA tomorrow. So doing a little speaking thing down there. So that's going to be exciting. So we tend to be a lot of different places lately.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of roles here at MSP+OS. But you're just not a strategist, right? You're a coach both for internal our teams and our clients. I guess, can you kind of try to talk a little bit about, not try, you're going to talk a little bit about what drives your passion around that kind of dual role and how you see it impacting the broader mission of our organization?
Well, so I think, internally, I'm extremely invested internally into what we're doing. I don't mean fiscally invested, or financially invested. I mean personally invested in the outcome that we're all shooting for here at MSP+OS. I mean, it's so being a co-founder and part owner, like that, I get a lot of passion, but behind saying what have I learned to do well in terms of my kind of coaching and strategic vision work. And I love that I'm able to leverage that and bring some of that into entities that I have even more stake, where I'm more of a shareholder and stakeholder in the outcome. And that's true both here at MSP+OS and TimeZest, a software company I'm involved with, right? And a co-founder, and I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer of TimeZest. In addition, I have a number of clients, MSPs, that I am their strategic coach. And the way that I view it, because people ask me, how can you possibly do all these things? And the way that I really view it is, if I step back a little bit, I view MSP+OS and TimeZest as strategic coaching clients. I mean, I really have to put that hat on, and I have to say what I really do is I help companies that I personally want to be invested in the outcome of those businesses. And I help their owners and leaders be a little bit better. And that's my goal, right? Increase their operational maturity, look a little bit into the future. And I love being able to leverage what I provide at MSP+OS and TimeZest for our clients at MSP+OS, for other MSPs. So it started with me building ConnectStrat with Brett Jaffe, and then starting to coach other clients, but we weren't building as much at ConnectStrat as we're now able to build at MSP+OS. We have a much larger set of services, so that's been an incredible advantage as well.
Yeah, for sure. And so we have a plethora of services, and that's partly why we do this Unplugged series, is just to get to know each of those and kind of Let's talk a little bit more about your strategic coaching, right? That's kind of the core of what your work is, and there's a lot of strategy around that, right? You've been kind of instrumental in kind of developing that, executing on those various different strategies, and really propelling our organization forward, but also our partners and clients, right? Can you kind of discuss a little bit maybe the framework of the strategic coaching that kind of makes us unique and special?
Yeah, it's really about, creating, it's essentially the set of services that we offer in our core strategic coaching that we do for leadership teams, because we do have some various packages or services where we have one-on-one executive or mid-level management coaching in one-on-one and group. So we do some great coaching from that perspective. But from a leadership team perspective, what we're really doing is we're implementing a business operating system, right? We're putting a business operating system in place, not unlike some that folks have heard of, scaling up EOS, others. Ours, it started with ConnectStrat operating system. Now it's the MSP Plus operating system, MSP Plus OS, right? And that operating system is really engineered to put all of the best pieces in place for an IT services company, an MSP. We're focused on four pillars, vision, strategy, execution, and impact. So we really step back and we work with the owner to say, what do you want out of this? Where do you aspire to go? And making sure that what we're doing for the owner or owners is in high alignment with their outcomes that they desire, right? And that they're building a leadership team that's aligned to the cultural norms that they want to work with, and all of those things. So we kind of move from that impact. What do you want out of this? What's the impact that you want to have, that you want the organization to have? To what's the vision? What does that look like? What's the vision? Let's put a stake in the ground and talk about where we're going. Strategy. All right, what do we need to do over the next X number of years to land at that vision? And then execution. How do we create an operationally mature organization that can digest that strategy without tripping over themselves? Too many organizations who don't have an operating system, a business operating system in place, they fumble around at the execution, but they don't know where they're going. They don't know how to get there. And so they're just constantly in the weeds, and they never really grow or aspire or become profitable, and never reach their destination. So we want to flip that on its head and really help owners get what they want out of the business.
Nice. And so, kind of talking a little bit day to day and kind of what you do, strategy is all about making impactful decisions, right? Vision, impact, and then is strategy through execution, right? And you navigate a lot of those various different complexities. And I think you have some tool sets that you like to use in your coaching. I don't know if you want to briefly talk about the 5 Ps or 3 Cs or
Yeah,
anything like
absolutely. I
that.
mean, we have, so yeah, there's very specific things that we dig into. So the 5 Ps, we land on those a lot: people, priorities, performance, process, and perspective. So perspective is, I'll just really briefly hit on those. Perspective is kind of the culmination of the first three pillars: impact, vision, and strategy. It's being able to see the forest through the trees, right? Raise your head up above and know where the business is going and get clarity on the vision components. And then the other four components are the core building blocks of a great business: people, priorities, performance, and process. You've got to make sure you have the right culture, the right people on the bus, in the right seat. You've got to have priorities. What are your goals? What are you trying to get done? Are they aligning to what your strategic outcomes are supposed to be? Performance. It's really about OKRs, metrics. How do you make sure that you have the right KPIs in place to ensure that the business is running smoothly and correctly? And how do you tweak when something's off in terms of performance? How do you reconcile that? And then process. How do you make sure that you can do something in a repeatable, scalable way, in a way that's documented, and that people, where people are just executing process, not making it up every time they're doing something.
Yeah.
Not tribal knowledge, but actual documented, executable process. That creates a
Awesome.
maturity in an organization that allows people to move faster, right?
Exactly right. All focused around the OML and bringing up that maturity level and growing your business, right? And so I know that I love hearing success stories and they resonate deeply with me, and I'm sure our audience as well. Is there a particular instance where the strategic coaching led to a significant transformation for a partner or a client?
Yeah, I believe so. So one thing I'll always say is like I love to see when my clients succeed, and it's also I'm never one to say like they're doing all the work. So all I'm doing is hopefully helping them a little along the way. But I do have some fantastic outcomes with clients. I had a client that I was working with for a couple of years, had a couple ups and downs over that time. Even we had to pause our services for a couple of months just when there were a couple of down points, but we really got things rolling and moving in a positive direction. Not only was I spending time running quarterly sessions with the leadership team, but I was spending one-on-one time with the owner, and ultimately brought them to an exit that met their personal goals. When that happens, and it's not the only time that's happened, but this particular example, when that happened, it's very fulfilling. You see an owner go through the trials and tribulations of ups and downs and fears about their personal future and then their employees and their clients and what it's all going to look like, and then you help them get to a point where they reach that pinnacle. They get the exit that's meaningful to them, takes care of their core team, and ensures that their clients are going to be with an organization that's going to handle
Yep.
them. And you really can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah. Huge, impactful. So I want to shift a little bit and talk about kind of the future a little bit, right? Looking ahead, just I'm thinking, the landscape of tech and strategic coaching, and even just it's like ever evolving and changing, especially with AI and just things are just going such fast pace. I know you're invested in quite a few different companies, and I just I'm curious of, what you believe, will shape the future of our organization, but also kind of what is our approach? Like, what do you see in the future a little bit?
Well, I definitely first. I think my first part of the answer would be what I do at my core in terms of strategic coaching won't be altered too much, because the strategic coaching is it's a unique thing to each organization based on what their desired outcome is, right? So it's
Yeah.
important that I mention that, because I want any client that sees this, or prospective client that sees this, to not go, oh, okay, well, he's banking everything on this, future state of IT, because I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm helping every client kind of I'm assisting them in getting and coming to their own conclusion, and then directing their business towards the outcome that they want, and what they believe the future of their. So some people are going to go one left and others are going to go right, and that's okay. I'm here to just help them facilitate a strong, meaningful vision and align their organization to that mission and that vision. Now, if I flip hats a little bit and say, what do I see in terms of the future with technology and everything else, where things are going? I mean, I think these are crazy exciting and a little bit scary times. I'm not the only person who
Yeah.
believes that, obviously, but all of the machine learning and artificial intelligence stuff that's going on, this is like, for me, I think of me as the kid thinking how technology is going to change the planet, and it's going so fast and it's so awesome, and I just love it. I mean, I think that ultimately, what a IT organization looks like, we always say that we go through this revolution, constant revolution, but then we have to evolve these evolutions even more frequently lately. So we the move to cloud, and now security, and now AI, and I think that AI and machine learning are going to change everything, and they already have. I think that I think the expectations of what your IT company or your MSP is going to be able to do for you is going to significantly shift as well. And we're expected to be more consultative. And I don't, we are a consulting company. We are consultative. But when I say we, I mean the industry as a whole. MSPs are going to be expected to become even more consultative. We had a wave of adding, 15 years ago, MSPs were IT service shops. There was no consulting involved for most. I mean, there's exceptions that prove the rule. Um, we went through this wave of introduction, moving from account management into VCIO offerings and doing more consultative work, offering consulting projects through our professional services teams, all that kind of work. But now it's become an expectation, I believe, or it's becoming an expectation that your IT services organization needs to be able to really come in and help you. IT now is no longer a department; it's the entire organization, and it has to be strategic. Technology has to be leveraged strategically throughout an organization. It's not just this is the department that issues the computers anymore. And I know I could have said the same thing 10 years ago, and I did. But now with AI, it gets completely shifting. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And so, kind of there's a lot. I mean, I could talk for hours on this particular, future thinking and, I always curious of like, how we're preparing our team, making sure it's up to date and even preparing our clients to navigate that. And you said something really super important is there's a shift mindset from a technician and engineer, a field tech, to systems admin and all that stuff. You have to take that more consultative approach, which is definitely shifting a lot, and be that business partner, right? I'm not saying, like you said earlier, not every MSP is like that, but I think there's definitely a lot more prevalent today in today's marketplace. Any
It's
thoughts on
moving
that?
that direction. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jameson, I just, thank you for kind of your insights today, and you not only highlighted the importance of strategic coaching and thinking, but you've also showcased the depths of expertise here at MSP+OS. We are here to guide organizations from vision to strategy and through execution, right? And I want to thank everybody who joined us live and left some comments on there, engaging with us throughout this conversation. Don't miss our next episode. It's MSP+OS with Matt Conley. So where we'll uncover kind of some additional talents and people behind the scenes of our organization. And Jameson, any closing thoughts?
No, I just how excited I am to be part of this. I would say a closing parting thought for me might be, wow, five companies merging. I've seen interesting things with two companies come together. One of my acquisitions, my MSP, the company I acquired, had just acquired another company, so I kind of call it three companies coming together at once. But this is uniquely different, and not without its challenges, of course, because I mean every acquisition or merger has challenges. But shockingly, with five companies coming together, it's the value. It's a multiplier, like we hoped it would be, right? So,
Yep.
so being able to really offer the broad breadth of services that we can and really help people move forward. It's been exciting, and I just really excited for the future.
Yeah, it's been an awesome journey, and proven our own cake that we eat, right? So we have that playbook. We used it, enhanced it. Five organizations come together is a huge feat, and I'm proud to be part of it as well. Thank you, Jameson, again. Definitely check us out on Thursday. I'll be around here, and I'll cover additional people and services driving the success behind MSP+OS. Until then, keep pushing boundaries, keep exploring new strategies. And remember, the future is just not predicted. It is designed. So let's create it together, and reach out to Jameson. Send us a message. We love hearing from you guys. Peace out. Appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy the
Thank
week.
you.